Berman. I'm co-founder of CNote. And so what we're doing at CNote is we're creating a new path to financial freedom for everybody. What does that even mean? So before I tell you what we do, I'd love to take you on a little journey. And the story starts here. So when I ask people, what does this icon mean to you? What does this picture mean to you? Usually I get responses like Wall Street, it's bustle, it's frenetic, it's sometimes greed, it's hurry, it's risk. And so interestingly enough, when I ask people to describe financial services, I often get very similar adjectives. It's risk, it's greed, it's complexity, it's frenetic. And so my co-founder and I spent years in finance, me on the venture side and then in financial services, her on Wall Street for about a decade and then in private equities. And we both recognized that something really wrong was happening. That while we, or women, were over 50% of the population, while millennials were about to inherit trillions in wealth, we in financial services were still creating products for him. Now I've got nothing against him. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. He's probably great to have a Thanksgiving, dinner with. But I probably don't share very many things in common with him. And so what my co-founder and I found is internally, when we worked at firms, when we worked in financial services, what were we creating? We were creating products for guys, usually over 60, who valued risk, complexity, didn't mind the financial jargon, liked gamesmanship, also known as gambling. And so this is where we would spend most of our time creating financial products and services for him. And so where we came out was, are we alone in thinking this is a problem? And what we found is, no, we were not alone. And in fact, just last month, we were at this large finance conference called Money 2020, one of the largest conferences in the world around financial services. And the CEO of Accenture gets up and says, only 10% of women believe that financial services pays attention to women. And in fact, it's time for women to create financial products for the greater market. And when I read that, what I really stick with is that last phrase, those last two words of greater market. Because for us at CNote, it's actually not just about women, and nor is it about people under 40. It's about anyone who doesn't look like that guy. It's about those of us who have a different color skin, those of us who weren't raised in an affluent zip code, those of us who come from another country, those of us who are not that guy. But guess what? We also deserve a shot at financial freedom. We also deserve to have access to products and services that make money in our sleep, that make us feel good about where we put our money. And so where my co-founder Yuli and I came down to was, what about the rest of us? How do we start thinking about a new financial service industry for the rest of us? And when we thought about what was happening and what about creating something new, about being a challenger, we thought this is bigger than just creating new products that all of us can access. Because the present reality isn't about just the fact that most of us don't get access to most of the financial products. It's that most of us don't get this type of financial freedom. Most Americans don't know what it feels like to experience financial freedom. To have that feeling, that peacefulness of knowing that your money's safe, that your money's in a place that you can trust, that the people that house your money are doing really good things that you would be proud of if you knew. And that, by the way, that money you're working so hard to earn is actually earning you money while you sleep. Most Americans have no idea what that feels like, and that is not okay. And so what we realized is if we were going to go down this path and start creating a new experience and new financial reality, we could not stay on the path that we were put on. Because it wasn't good enough to create new packages for the existing products, which we see a lot, right? Most of us have probably got pitched some interesting financial product with a certain type of color or jargon or message that's supposed to resonate with our gender or our geography or our age, right? Or the pink everything. We were not prepared to do that. And so what we started thinking about, well, wow, if we're really going to do this, we're going to take an alchemist approach. We're not going to just repackage financial products. We're going to recreate financial products. We're going to take a clean sheet and literally go, if we could start this from scratch, what could this look like? What could this finance thing look like if we got to reinvent it starting day one? And what we decided is that we'd love to see financial products that include things like transparency. You know exactly what you're signing up for. Things like simplicity. Don't make it so complicated that I feel stupid, or that I don't understand, or that I have to call my finance friend to get the answers of what that is, or if I should do it. Inclusivity, right? Let's make it something that benefits more than just one institution. It's actually an inclusive way about thinking of money. And accessible. Products that everybody can access. Not at a $10,000 minimum, not because you work in a certain zip code, not when you reach a certain socioeconomic status, but from day one. And so we thought, well, where do we start? If we really wanted to recreate some of these vehicles, where should we start? And we decided, well, how about our piggy bank? Most of us understand what cash and savings is. Even if we don't have tons of it, we at least can get our heads around the piggy bank, the proverbial piggy bank. And what we found was, unfortunately, most of our options about where to put cash were pretty crappy. And if you can't read this over there, I'll just tell you, if you've got a traditional savings account right now, it's most likely making 0.06% if you're lucky, a money market 1.1%, a one-year CD 1.25%. Who cares about all those numbers? The most important number on that slide is that red number that shouts out, guess what guys, none of those even keep up with inflation, which means all of us using any of those lose money. We lose the value of our money, about 1% of our nest egg, just by putting it in that savings account that's supposed to be so safe. And so this is where we decided to start at CNote. We said, well, this is a problem. I know we can do better than this because this is really bad. Let's start with that. Let's start with a better place to park our cash, whether we're saving for our first home or for a car or just want some opportunistic money. Let's think of a better place to park our cash. And so then we drew it. We took our clean sheet and we said, this is what it would look like. It would be high yield and high impact. It would have no fees. It would have no minimum, so anybody could get in. A 19-year-old graduate of college with 20 bucks to their name could get in. It would have access. It wouldn't tie up my dollars for 5 years. It would be easy. I wouldn't have to fax anything. I wouldn't have to get on a call with a financial broker. And it would be really competitive. It would actually earn me money in my sleep. And so this is what we did at CNote. We created an entirely new financial product with all of the above. And probably the most important piece of this to me personally is it's 100% social impact. So while all of these benefits are things that we were excited about and we knew others were excited about, we knew that where your money sleeps and how your money is put to work is equally as important as all the bells and whistles. And so the beauty of this product, in our humble opinion, is that we are finally putting those dollars to work for community good. Every dollar you put into a CNote account serves communities like women, minorities, low-income communities across the country. So if you're sitting there going, that's cool, but I'm a do-gooder, like, that's not a real market. How many people really are interested in something like this? I will share, you're not alone. In less than a year, over 9 million has been committed on CNote. And some really fantastic people have shared their loyalty and their excitement. And I share this more than anything to say that as a challenger, you're often feeling lonely and wow, am I the only one that thinks this is a problem? And then you get these wonderful comments and you realize we're not alone. A lot of people are frustrated, a lot of people are pissed, and a lot of people are ready for something new. So this just gives you a snapshot of when we think about our challenger brand, what we like to put face forward. Because we can talk about the return, the fact that we have over 40x better return till the cows come home. But one of the differentiators for us is where we're putting your money to work. And the incredible stories that we get to tell of how your money's working for you and the lives you are changing simply because you decided to take that cash, doing nothing, collecting dust, and put it to work in a different way. And so that's how we got here today. That's how we created this product, shipped this product. It's now live on my CNote. But where do we go from here? And I think what we realized as a company is there was such an opportunity to do this differently. To not just create a savings vehicle that looked different, but any financial product you can think of has the opportunity to be redesigned in a way that you feel proud of, and in a way that puts your money to work and much more competitive. That gives you the types of returns that your rich uncle gets. Imagine that. Imagine if all of us had access to that. And so this opportunity to redesign finance and create financial vehicles with a whole other set of rules is not just big, it's real. I love this slide because it's not me sharing, wow, we can do this. Some great stats about over 51% or 14 trillion in wealth is already controlled by women in the United States. Whether we know it or not, we are the massive asset owners of this country right now. And moving forward, next 30 to 40 years, 30 trillion in assets will move from the baby boomers, predominantly to women and millennials. So the folks who are about to control the wealth of this country do not look like the white guy on that slide. It's a historic opportunity for us to do something different. So when we think about CNote as a company and as a brand, we think again about those values I shared earlier. We think about transparency. We think about inclusivity. We think about empowerment. We think about simplicity. And it tends to wrap up in a statement of equality. Thinking through some of the decisions we make as a brand, and again, as a young company, really still teasing this out, I just wanted to share kind of two ways we navigate that brand minefield. One are some of the mantras we live by. People, not products. The ability to put your money to work for people and not a faceless product that you can hardly describe to your friend. A belief in the underdog, that there are so many folks in the United States they could use a leg up, or they could use access to a new type of financial service. Radical compassion, that our products and services and company starts with empathy, starts with us really trying to put ourselves in your shoes, and what are you experiencing, and can this product be helpful for you? Is this experience good for you? Am I making your life easier? Not mine, yours. Your safety is number one. When we think about being a financial firm, we understand if you entrust us with your dollars, the safety of your dollars is number one. You work very hard for that money. So how do we make sure to safeguard that? And that your freedom is a close second. Because after we all are on the same page of protecting and safeguarding those dollars, what are we doing to make your life free? How are we creating products and services so you can do what you want to do and not worry about the finances, but make sure that money is working in the background for you so that you can take that trip around the world, or so that you can invest in that for a small business, or that you can go back in that to get that degree. Whatever it is that means financial freedom for you, how are we doing with that? How are we empowering that? And the second thing, in terms of kind of our brand ethos, is really feeling that our mission is our brand. My team and I really signed up for this more than anything just to create the change we want to see in the world. And knowing that there's some wonderful established players out there that also want to see things different, that are also signing up to see a transition in financial services. So by leading with our mission as an organization, it really drives a lot of our decision making, a lot of our spend, a lot of our internal policies, and really who we are as a company. I'll end on this slide, and I think you've heard it a lot today, which is being a challenger brand is hard, right? You don't have the budget or the press or a lot of the fanfare of established companies. But you also have incredible, incredible passion and belief and movement. And so this year, we were awarded South by Southwest FinTech Innovation of the Year. And for that, it was a huge both sigh of relief, that we're not crazy, but also a nod in the direction that, again, it's not just this small team that thinks we can do better in finance, and that it's not just this small team that believes we can put our money to work for good. So that's who we are, CNote, because everyone deserves a shot at financial freedom. I'd love to take questions.